It is Tuesday, October 20th. Um, Hope you all are doing well. We missed you yesterday. Today we're talking about inferencing or making inferences or inferring. Lots of different ways that you hear this word. We are gonna take a little assessment tomorrow with 10 questions. It's called a CFA, Common Formative Assessment, and it's going to be over. There's like a couple questions over each of the things that we've gone over the last couple weeks. But inferencing is a skill that you've been learning ever since you were in second grade or so. And it's very difficult to do. It's a high level skill, and you have to use your schema, your prior knowledge, to draw an inference. So today I'm going to kind of go through this little short passage with you. It's on a Google form that you'll have to submit. I won't give you the answers, but I'm going to kind of set it up for you so you can have some success and kind of explain to you what or how to draw an inference or make an inference. Okay. So one of the strategies that I would like for you to try is to actually figure out if the passage that you're reading is fiction or nonfiction. So in this case, the fleet set sail. So one of the things that I look for when I'm skimming the passage without reading it is if there are any first names, if there's any dialogue. Those things are kind of giveaways for fiction. Nonfiction, you might see some facts, you might see some dates, things like that. So we're going to kind of skim it. I do see a first name here. I do see a year here. But it looks like it just uses first names, like as in he was a made-up character. I don't see any last names. So we're going to say that this is fiction. Okay. The next thing I want you to do is go to the questions first. And these questions will kind of give you a hint about what the passage is about, kind of giving you a heads up on that. And makes you think about the skills that are being assessed, okay? Because you kind of need a heads up and you kind of need to know what you're being asked of. So that can be part of your purpose for reading, okay? So question 1, what can you infer about China in 1403? Another word for infer is what's not being, or another words for infer is what's not being said. You got to read between the lines, okay? What can you infer about China in 1403? Okay, so you're thinking about China in 1403, and you're making an inference. Okay. Question 2, how does Yen probably feel about being part of the fleet? So you're thinking about characterization here. Okay. How is Yen feeling? Question 3, what inference can you make about the emperor? Okay, so obviously there's going to be a question or there's going to be something that you're going to read about an emperor, and you're making another inference. Question 4, what can you infer about Chinese knowledge of the stars in 1403? Again, stars in 1403, what you're inferring about what the Chinese know about it, you're drawing an inference, okay? When you're drawing an inference using text, you gotta have some kind of text evidence to support that inference, okay? So now that you've kind of read the questions, you're going to be reading about China in some way, and you're going to be thinking about the stars, maybe, China in 1403. So you kind of have an idea about where we're headed. So now you're going to go to the passage, and as you're reading, you're going to think about anything that surprises you. Anything that surprises you, you're going to underline, and you're going to write an S for surprise. When you're surprised, you're kind of like shocked. Like, oh, wow. So that's what I want you to think about as you're reading. The fleet set sail. It was twilight. Yin was standing on the deck of a large Chinese junk, gazing at the huge fleet of ships around him. 300 ships in all, he had been told. Too many to see in the growing darkness. There were supply ships, battleships, horse transports, and many others. Most ships had 9 masts and 12 sails. Many were more than 400 feet long. Since Yang's junk was near the beginning of the fleet, he had seen Admiral Zhang sail into the Yellow Sea. The year was 1403. Thousands of people had lined the Yangtze River to see the armada off that morning. Yin was only a deckhand, yet he was part of an event unlike anything that had come before it. Yin was not yet fully grown. What did he know of the fleet's goals? He knew that this was to be a trading mission. Beyond that, some said the emperor had directed Zhen He to forge alliances, collect exotic animals, and persuade rulers to pay tribute to China. Others believed the admiral's job was much more than that. They suspected that he had been told to explore civilizations at the ends of the earth, from the most western of the west to the most northern of the north, however far away they may be. As stars began to appear, Yen took a bite of pickled fruit. He watched a man take out a strange instrument. The man seemed to be measuring the stars. Okay, back to the questions. Question 1, what can you infer about China in 1403? And I always start at D. D is, if you start at D, you're making yourself go up to A automatically. If you start at A and you find one that you like, you tend to not finish the rest of the answer choices. So D, it did not need goods from other countries. Well, let's look back here. Okay, the year was 1403. Thousands of people had lined the Yangtze River to see the armada off that morning. It talked about he was trying to figure out the fleet's goals. He knew that it was trading, but other than that, he wasn't sure. So what can we infer about the country in 1403? It did not need goods from other countries. It was a strong but violent nation. It had an advanced culture. It was a primitive nation. So what can we infer based on what we've read? It does not explicitly say in the passage any of these answer choices. I don't think it could be C. We have no evidence that they're violent. Okay. Primitive nation means they don't have much, but they have all these ships. This is 1403. This is way back in time. So for them to have all these 300 ships or so, I think is pretty advanced. So I think that we could rule out A and C. There's no text evidence that they were violent. They did have many ships, so I don't think they were primitive. You're left with B and D. Which one do you think makes more sense based on what you've read here in this paragraph or these paragraphs about China? All these people lined the river to watch them leave. They had other goals besides just trading with other people, which means they took initiative. So think about that. Question 2, how does Yin probably feel about being part of the fleet? Okay, so this is when you're connecting with the character. D, he is scared and uneasy about what may happen. He seems fascinated and proud. B, he appears angry at being forced to go. A, he finds it dull and uninspiring. Okay, so first of all, it says here, he was gazing at the ships, which means he's looking upon them with a loving, admiring gaze, okay? Yin was only a deckhand, yet he was a part of an event unlike anything that had come before it. So this is something new that the country's doing, so he seems excited. Even though he was questioning their goals, he was eager to get on board and get on ship and take off with them. So when you're looking at the answer choices here, I don't know that he was scared. He was questioning things. But, I mean, he wanted to be a deckhand. So, because there were thousands of people that were still in the country, which means I think that part of it was he wanted the job. I don't know that he was angry either. So those are a couple of answer choices that we could probably rule out. Question 3. What inference can you make about the emperor? He talks about the emperor a couple times. So what inference can he make? D, he has gained power through fighting wars. C, he has little interest in the outside world. B, he wants to conserve China's resources. A, he wants China to be a world leader. So does it mention wars at all? No. So you can rule out that one pretty much immediately. He has little interest in the outside world. But then why would he be sailing away from China if he wasn't interested in the outside world? He wants to conserve China's resources. Aren't they trading with people? If he wants to conserve, he wouldn't be trading them or sharing them. So think about that. Question 4, what can you infer about Chinese knowledge of the stars in 1403? Okay, well, the last sentence is that they were measuring stars with some kind of tool. D, the Chinese worshipped the stars. C, the Chinese were the first to name the stars. B, the Chinese used stars to navigate the seas. A, the Chinese had little interest in the stars. Well, first of all, this was at the beginning of their journey. The man was measuring the stars. So if he's measuring the stars at the beginning of the journey, don't you think it has something to do with them exploring, them going on this journey? I think so. That's what I'm going to infer. I don't think it would be A. Why would he be measuring the stars if he had no interest in them? I don't know that we have enough text evidence to say that the Chinese worshipped the stars, so I'm not sure about that one. So be thinking about these thoughts as you're inferring or making inferences in this passage. You do not need to do this strategy practice question. When you're finished, you can submit the Google form, and tomorrow we'll have an assessment, a CFA, Common Formative Assessment on some skills we've been looking at, and we'll go over that tomorrow in the instructional video. All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye.